Hello ladies and gentlemen and gentleladies, I'm your lovely host Maya Rothwell and you are watching or listening to the Fly Girls podcast. Today is a lovely sunny day in England, as usual, typical unpredictable British weather. Yesterday it was absolutely freezing, now it's very hot. But I'm not complaining, it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm probably going to go for a bike ride after this. Before I get into the video, please guys, like, comment and subscribe. You know the drill. Help me push this podcast out to the world so all of the girlies can wake up to the dusty tactics and stand up. What is the title of today's episode? Guys, I've got lots of notes for different episodes. I'm going on a bit of a whim here, but the title of today's podcast is Mute is Not Cute. Yeah? God gave you a beak, open it. Yeah, God gave you a mouth, use it. Today's episode is all about saying no, how to say no, and why no full stop is a full sentence. Halas. Why are you so scared to say no? I know it's hard and it's taken me 2.5 decades to master the art of saying no, but if you don't learn how to say no sooner than later, you'll learn the hard way again and again and again. So let me give you some examples of how to say no. No. No, thank you, if you want to be polite. Nope. November Oscar spells no. Full stop. N-O. N-O spells no. Okay? And this is what one of my friends told me. He said to me, Maya, sometimes you just have to say no without an explanation. You do not owe anyone an explanation. You do not owe anyone pleasantries and kind gestures. No can also be a boundary. If you struggle with saying no, I suggest you have that as one of your New Year's resolutions, which I don't really believe in New Year's resolutions. I don't have to wait until January the 1st to New Year, new me. No, every day should be a new you, new day, new morning, new evening, new night, etc, etc. Anywho, I digress. I promise you guys, after every no, it becomes easier. For anyone who's tuned in on my book club on TikTok lives, this is the first time that I've actually been able to go live consecutively without being banned. Or am I speaking too soon? Who knows? Although I haven't been banned, I do have violations. But anyways, beggars can't be choosers. Before the influx of dusties came into my book club, as they usually do, don't know where they come from. Yeah, Andrew Tate, come collect your disciples, yeah. Anyways, the book we are currently on is the Mel Robbins Let Them theory. So this links perfectly into example I'm going to take from this book is make decisions that make you proud. This brings me to a very important point about prioritizing your needs whilst also maintaining supportive and loving relationships. The point here is not to move through life as a selfish or narcissistic person who doesn't care about other people. The point is learning how to put your needs first as you're balancing what works for you with the expectations and feelings of other people. In life, you don't want to be a doormat, but you also don't want to be an inconsiderate bulldozer. It's a balance. Let's say you have a crazy busy weekend coming up. On one hand, you have a close friend celebrating a big milestone birthday, and it's one of those really fun weekends where friends are all getting together to celebrate. For you, it means making a 4-hour drive to get to where the party is going to be held, and you know that the right decision for you is to be there. On the other hand, you promised your parents months ago that you would come home the same weekend as your grandparents are visiting. You want to do both. You want to be a good friend, you want to be a good child, and you want to be a good grandkid. So you move heaven and earth to drive 4 hours north of the city to be present for the Friday night festivities for your friend. And you are glad you did. You stay up late, laughing with friends, and down a bottle of wine. You have an absolute blast. Then the next morning, you wake up at 7 a.m. You roll out of bed, pull on your sweats, leave a note saying you're sorry to miss out on the rest of the weekend, and get back in the car to drive another 4 hours to your parents' house to spend the rest of the weekend with your grandparents. As you're driving on the road, you're proud of yourself for making the effort. Little do you know, you'll find out later, the birthday girl was upset that you left and apparently said, I don't know why she even bothered coming. If she could only stay one night, let her. 4 hours later, you're at your parents', a little hungover and a lot tired. You step out of the car in your sweats and hug your grandma, who is so excited. She's teary-eyed. Then you hug your mum and she whispers in your ear, your grandmother was so disappointed you weren't here when she arrived last night. And then she adds, we need to leave for lunch in 10 minutes. You need to change. Let her. I'm telling you this story to prove 2 points. Even when you bend over backward and try to please everyone and make it work, even that won't guarantee that other people will think a positive thought. Let them. Second, and this is the most important point, don't be the person who bends over backward to make everyone happy. I used to be that person. It left me depleted and feeling like nothing I could do was ever good enough. Now I know the let them theory. I bend over backward to make myself happy. Let me explain. The reason to make a Herculean effort or to show up at both your friends' birthday party and to see your grandparents is that it makes you proud of yourself. Don't go to your friend's birthday so that they think you're a good friend. Go to your friend's birthday because it makes you feel like a good friend. Don't go home to see your grandparents because it makes your mother happy. Go home to see your grandparents because it makes you happy to prioritise your grandparents and family. When you operate in a way that makes you proud of yourself, it doesn't matter what other people think. They're going to be mad that you left early. They're going to be mad that you arrived late. Someone is always going to be disappointed by the decisions that you make. Don't ever let it be you that's disappointed. And don't let guilt drive your decisions. When you go to your parents' house because you feel guilty, you've turned your parents into the villain. When you choose to go because you'd be mad at yourself if you didn't, you're in control of your decisions. This is a very straightforward example of how to stop worrying about what other people think and let your values drive your decisions. But what about those moments when your opinion and someone else's really do clash? Like, what if your mum doesn't like the person you're going to marry? What do you do then? I've been there. Okay guys, on that note, we're going to stick a pin on that page, darlings. On that note guys, I would like to interject as well and add my 2 pence into that. I used to also be that person, bending over backwards, never saying no, giving everyone lifts, here, then, everywhere. Who's there to give me lifts? Who's there to collect me from the airport? Zero. So guess what? Yeah, the same energy people give me, I give them. I'm busy, I'm working. I used to bend over backwards even after I'd finished work, even after I was exhausted. Now, no. Guess who's the priority in your life? Guess who's the main character in your movie? You. Guess who's the main character in my movie? Me. My sister's over there rollerblading now, next to my mum's house. Guess who's the main character in her story? Her. We're all the main characters in our story. As humans, we are naturally wired, biologically wired to be selfish. So I'm not putting the blame on anyone else. I'm not putting the blame on my friends. But unfortunately, some people are more selfish than others. And perhaps you have a good heart. You'll do everything for everyone. They wouldn't do the same for you. So it's not a case of, oh, don't do things because people don't do the same for you. Well, kind of, yeah. If you listen to the last episode of how I talk about why you should reevaluate your friends, the title is called Who Called You in the Past 7 Days. Go and listen to that. Don't do things to make others happy. Do things to make yourself happy. If I know I'm not going to feel good, I'm going to say no. My friends I had the other day invited me to go to Amsterdam. I said no. Thanks for the invitation, but no. I've been to Amsterdam many times. I'm not interested in going again. There's no drama, there's no kerfuffle, yeah? Honestly, saying yes to everything and then cancelling last minute and faffing about, that's childish, yeah? Say no from the beginning. Or do what I do, guys. I personally am a big fan of saying, I'll let you know. I'm busy, however, if I finish work early, yeah, I'll pop in. I'll come, I'll join you guys. Because when some people, when you say, oh yeah, I'll come, and then when you want to reschedule and things come up, they get very offended. And I understand. Even me, guys, if I've cleared my schedule or cleared an hour out of my day to go for coffee with a friend or to go for food or party with a friend, and then they faffing about, cancel, late, yeah, I'm annoyed and I'm going without you. I'm a lone wolf anyway, as it is, guys. I do all of these things by myself. I go to Pilates myself, I have food by myself, I go to the coffee shop by myself, I take a matcha by myself. So you interrupting my day by like an hour, 2 hours, you don't respect my time. And I used to have friends like this who I've cut off the majority of them. In Dubai, I had friends where on Valentine's Day one time, we went to this restaurant. The restaurant is booked for a certain time and I had a morning flight. This was when I was a flight attendant. They didn't respect anyone's time. And one of my friends, one of my male friends actually put this into perspective for me. And he said, guys, they're always late. They're always late to tennis, always late to these things, always late to meals, but they're not late to work. They're not missing the flight, are they? And when he put it like that, I was like, wow. This is why, guys, Dusty's come in my life and say, oh, you hate men? No, I love men. I love my guy friends. They're like family to me. I will do another episode on guy friends, because you have to be very selective when it comes to males, because a lot of males don't know how to be friends with females. Yeah, and they're going to take the pissy out of you. But I do have a lot of guy friends, and they put things into a perspective that I would never come to myself, and vice versa. So when he said that, like, guys, you do realise they never miss work, they're never late for work, they're in fact an hour and a half early for work. Make it make sense. And I realised, wow, they just don't respect me. They don't respect my time. And guys, I used to be a person who was always late as well, you know, North African timing. Now, no, because it's actually very disrespectful. If you've got a meeting, if you've got like a job interview, being on time shows that you're going to be on time for the job. Aviation, we used to have, I don't really want to go into aviation, yeah, but in aviation there was a saying that if you're on time, you're late. In case of aviation, yeah, if you're on time, you're late, because you have to get on the aircraft, you have to like do all of your duties, prepare the aircraft, etc, etc, go into the briefing. So yeah, guess what I did with those friends? I stopped letting them take the mick, go things alone, because all the time, we should do Pilates, we should do this, we should do that, we should do that. It never happened. So guess what? I went alone. I went to Pilates alone. I went to the gym alone. I went to the gym alone anyway, yeah? And personally, I'm not someone who likes to exercise with people. When I have to focus, and the only thing I can do in a group is Pilates, because everyone's got their own machine and everyone's focused, and there's one instructor, you know, instructing you. It's the only time I can do like exercise as a group, or obviously tennis, paddle, things like that. Anywho, I would just go to the gym. Guess what would happen? The chronically late bandits are still not happy. No, but Maya, you don't let me know when you go to the gym. You tell me when you're already there. Yes, I tell you when I'm already there, because I'm not waiting for you in your apartment for 1 hour to get ready to go to the gym. By the time you've taken 1 hour to get ready for the gym and get changed for the gym, which I don't know why you need 1 hour and a half to get ready for the gym anyways. You know, hoover down a banana or an orange and apple quickly for breakfast, or some porridge oats. Throw on some gym clothes, put your hair in a little pony, and yalla, let's go. The gymnasium was literally in the same building when we all lived in the same building. Oh, let me know when you go for a swim. No, because by the time you've come and you've taken 2 hours to get ready to go for a swim, I would have swum the River Nile by then. Guys, my time is very precious to me, and as it should be to you. Your time is the only resource in this life you cannot get back. Time is more valuable than money. Time is more valuable than gold, Bitcoin, Ripple, Dogecoin, etc, 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 Ethereum, whatever currency in this world. Time is the only thing you cannot get back. The only thing. Therefore, people who don't respect your time don't respect theirs. Hasta la vista, darling. People who don't respect your time, they don't get lifts. Like I've said in previous episodes about dusty people, of course they don't want to get a taxi. So of course they want to go with you, because I'm the chauffeur, the driver, the concierge. If you want to get a lift in my car, you're on time. Guys, in all honesty, I don't mind waiting. In England, I don't mind waiting for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I can go through some emails, delete some emails, you know, etc, etc. Respond to some texts, because like I've said in previous episodes, my notifications are off. My phone's on D&D mode forever and eternity. Yeah, if anyone needs me, they ring me, text me, FaceTime, etc, iMessage. Yeah, but when it comes to half an hour, hour and a half, you're taking the mick. And this is why a lot of friends, I stopped chilling with them, because they just take the mick. And then even then, if you have friends like that, they're still not going to be happy. Oh, Maya doesn't invite me anywhere. Oh, they don't invite me. Yes, I don't invite you anywhere, because you don't know how to turn up on time. And some people are hypocrites. I have 2 friends who I'm thinking of now, chronic dawdlers, and they'll tell you, oh yeah, we're ready, come. And then you get to theirs, they're still curling their hair, they're still straightening their hair, they're still sat in a towel. And it's like, I remember one time I said, right, I'm going to edit my podcast then. No, we won't be that long, You don't even have a sense of time. You don't even understand how long and annoying you are. The chronic dawdling is annoying. The chronic lateness is irritating. And people who value time, they're not going to be around you. If you're listening to this and you think, oh goodness, I'm a chronic dawdler and chronic late person, be prepared. Set yourself an alarm. One of my friends, Lalu, and I, we set alarms. Yeah? If I'm laid in bed on holiday, I know that I'm not going to get back up and that I'm going to want to sleep for the rest of the night. Yeah? So I'll set an alarm. I'll allow myself to have a nap. I'll set an alarm for like an hour, 2 hours, and I'll write on the alarm, shower. get ready, start doing makeup. And if it's overwhelming to get ready, give yourself extra time. I don't take an hour to get ready. If anyone watches my makeup videos on TikTok, it takes me like 5-10 minutes, maximum 15 minutes to get ready. But I like to take my time. I like to spray my perfume. I like to have a shower. I like to exfoliate. I like to have my hair nice. So no, I'm not going to rush. I remember I had a friend once. We went swimming and then afterwards we wanted to go to get food. And she said to me, "But Maya, why do you have to have a shower?" And I was like, hello, self-respect, but why do you have to have a shower? Like, I respect myself. Sorry guys, texting break. Need to take my sister to work so I can film, because this car is my studio whilst I'm in the East Midlands. Anywho, so yeah, people who take the mick, hit the road jack. And you don't have to tell them, oh, hit the road jack. Halas, do things alone, go alone. You know what I've realised in life? Once you take heed, once you start to do something, people follow. As humans, we're like sheep. There's actually a study. I can't remember the study. I can't remember if it was Sharif et al. I'll have to Google the name of the researcher because I can't remember for the life of me the name. There was actually a study where the participants in the study walked past a building and selected participants craned their necks up to look at the top floor or the top window, something like that. You know what the research found? People started to also crane their necks because the other participants was craning their necks up to look at the window or the building. Therefore, as humans, we are not beings of individualism. We are like sheep, and naturally it makes sense because originally we did originate from tribes, we originated from groups, we originated from, even if we go back to the caveman days, we was all in little communities. Let's just call it that. I don't want to get too deep into this field of evolution, which is another podcast for another day about why the Dusties wouldn't exist if they was in the animal kingdom, because they wouldn't. Yeah, I was saying this on my TikTok live the other day. Let's be quite frank, let's call a spade a spade. The Dusties, the Leeches, the 50-50s, they wouldn't exist in the animal kingdom. Do you think these guys would exist? Absolutely not. But that's a subject for another day. I'll probably do that with Zahra because all the Dusties love to be triggered by us. Let me just say a disclaimer or word of warning. If you're triggered by anything I say on this podcast, stay triggered. If you're offended by anything I say, stay offended. If you're insecure and intimidated by me, stay intimidated, stay insecure. It is not my job to make you comfortable. It is not my job to educate you. ChatGPT is free. Google.com is free. Yeah? Confused.com is also free because I'm confused.com as to why people think they can leave comments. Yeah? Slight caveat, guys. Listen to the comments. Yeah? The comments on my last video, the incels have found my YouTube channel now. This segment of the podcast is called Dusty Busting. Yeah, I'm reading through the Dusty comments on my last episode. Mark Mauer 1746 2 days ago. Racism wouldn't exist if black people didn't come to England. Just a real fact for you. Listen, you uneducated little swine, go and get your rat skin coat and go back on the highway where you belong, because you are a rat on the highway. If Dust, how can you be openly racist on social media? Digital footprint is real, Mark. You dust. Next. Incels aren't just disciples of Andrew Tate. Most incels don't even like him because he's a red pill grifter. Does your knowledge of incels only come from the adolescent slop? Okay, incel number one. Listen, my apologies if you are an incel, and perhaps I should actually research a bit more into the incel community. Please comment down below anything in addition, in a positive, educational way. As far as I know, there are 2 movements, perhaps there's more now. I know about the red pill, and is it the black pill or the blue pill? I don't know. So I know about the red pill, and I know that there's some incels who act upon their, aggressions and don't act upon their aggressions. So please explain to me down below and educate me, because I'm not an incel, so I don't know. If you want to enlighten me through the eyes of an incel, please feel free to comment down below. But there's a way to communicate as an adult, and it's not racism, and it's not expressing yourself in this way. Incels aren't people who watch Andrew Tate necessarily, or incels are just men who don't get women. There are plenty of nice incels. I never said there wasn't any nice incels. Anywho, If you want to understand what incels are, watch Rehab Room. They wouldn't even be in clubs partying. In fact, most wouldn't even talk to you over TikTok. Okay, boring. Next. Sadia Khan 2.0. You're giving off real side chick energy. Lol. Okay, this is my channel 607 fake account. Who's Sadia Khan 2.0? My name is Maya Rothwell, the one and only. How am I giving side chick energy for addressing racism and the incel culture? Anyone wants to listen to that podcast, the name is Dusty Free Zone, Boundaries, Racism and Incel Culture. Anywho, boring. Rat on the highway. Next. Okay, this one is definitely an incel, using incel terminology. Women will all ignore red flags and their own boundaries for a Chad or Tyrone. Guys, I'm guessing a Chad or Tyrone is like an alpha male. I don't know. I'll have to do another episode about the incels and do some proper research. And on that note, guys, I've got to drop my sister to work. Drive break. Perhaps we can, she can be the cameraman. So back to the point of this episode. Mute is not cute, darling. Don't let the Dusties, Dustriarchy, yeah, the Dusty patriarchy, tell you, I don't like a woman who talks too much, yeah? God gave you a mouth, use it. State your boundaries loud and clear. Anyone who don't like it, they can hit the road jack, yeah? If you don't like something, open your beak and speak. If you don't like the way someone's treating you, open your beak and speak, yeah? This is for people who you actually want in your life. People who you don't want in your life, who have disrespected you time and time again, I don't think they deserve an explanation. I think as adults, we should all have emotional intelligence and situational and social awareness. And if you don't have that, then it is not my duty to teach you. I'm not obliged to teach a fish how to climb a tree. Stand up, stand on your 10 toes and paws, and speak up for yourself. Zahra and I was on live yesterday, and some of the girls was laughing, saying, "You're so strict, I love it." Yeah, we are strict. You have to be strict when it comes to your self-respect, your boundaries and your dignity, because you are the only person who can lay down the law, because this is your life. And how is anyone else in your life supposed to respect you if you don't lay down the law? Yeah, this is your movie, your life, your democracy. Lay down the law. Honestly, I don't really think you have to tell people again and again, "Oh, I respect people who are on time, my boundaries, my boundaries, my boundaries." No, khalas. Tell them once, and if they don't listen, hasta la vista, darling. The door's that way. Yeah, all of us are adults. If someone has the emotional intelligence of a fish, hasta la vista, darling. I cannot give you a brain transplant, unfortunately. I might have got an A in psychology, but I can't give you a new brain. And I'm not even qualified to give you a brain scan, unfortunately. Not like I would, because it's not my duty. Anyone who doesn't respect you as a person, doesn't respect your time, your boundaries, and things that you don't like or don't want to do, hasta la vista, darling. Leave them where you found them on the highway. Tell them to go and collect their rat skin coat from the cloakroom, and leave them where you found them, because they are a rat on the highway. My videos are not just about men, by the way. It can be about toxic family members, toxic friends, you know. The Dusties is not only male. The Dusties can be your own family, your own friends. In fact, 9 times out of 10, your own family and friends will take the piss more. This is why you have to have boundaries, and you must lay down the law. If you let people take advantage of you and take the mick time and time again, you're basically saying, take the mick out of me, take the pissy out of me. Because that's what allowing disrespect is. Mug on your forehead. Michael, uniform, golf. You may as well get that tattooed on your forehead. And yes, people aren't going to be happy about it. They're going to protest. You're so bougie, you're so strict, all these rules and regulations, I don't like it. Well, if you don't like it, then guess what? Hit the road, Jack. Like I said before, this is your movie, this is your life. You're not obliged to make people feel comfortable. If the shoe fits, wear it. If you're triggered, stay triggered. If you're mad, stay mad. It's not my job to give you therapy and make you secure in yourself. If you're not secure in yourself, only you can do the work. People can only change if they want to change from within themselves. When I was a flight attendant, I remember having a conversation with all the crew on the layover, and the captain said how he met his wife, and he actually said it wasn't all smooth sailing, and he actually said, "I feel bad for your generation because, you know, all of this new technology, there's too many options, people think the grass is greener, etc, etc." And he actually said him and his wife sat down and they wrote on a piece of paper what they wanted and they worked towards it. And he said to me, Respect is not earned, it is commanded. I do agree to some extent. If you don't lay down the law, how would people know how to respect you? It's like when you go to a new country, you don't know the laws of the land. Yeah? Let people learn the hard way. Also, when I was a flight attendant, this lovely Spanish girl, she said her dad told her, when guys come back is to see if you're still stupid. So are you still stupid, yes or no? I'm retired anyway from the dating game. I retired many moons ago, all jokes aside, yeah. But I know for a fact I'm not stupid. Are you? Are you stupid? Because I'm not. If you feel like someone is not good for you, if you feel like they're draining your energy, they are a energy vampire, all bark no bite, you know, words, 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 and no actions to follow, and perhaps your love language is acts of service. The 5 love languages, I'd highly suggest you read that, because once you understand your love language, you may understand why you have certain triggers. For me, I would be, if I was back in the dating game, if I did choose to come out of retirement, I would be triggered by someone who is all bark no bite, you know, I'm going to do this and then doesn't. If you feel like that, listen to your intuition, listen to your gut. I've said in many podcasts before how a woman's intuition is never wrong. So if you feel like something's off, listen to it. Maybe it's time to tell them to hit the road jack, go on the highway, because they are a rat on the highway. Change of scenery for anyone who is watching on YouTube. Drop my sister off to work. Like I always say, you cannot teach a fish how to climb a tree. You don't need to over explain yourself. If a dusty approaches you and asks for your number and you do not want to give your number, nope, no thank you. And honestly, sometimes you have to be abrupt, because these dusties cannot take no for an answer. Yeah, normal respectful men, they will take no for an answer and walk away. But saying you have a husband doesn't work, saying I'm married doesn't work, saying you're a lesbian doesn't work. So khalas, N-O spells no. That's why I'm not going to lie, in all honesty, sometimes it's not even worth wasting your breath. Sometimes just ignore, walk away or run away. Yeah, if they're a dusty, run away. Especially when these dusty people approach you in a ferocious way. Like, what is this, a fight? You G-checking me? Confused.com. Like, some people approach you in such a ferocious way. Wagwan, what you saying? What's your Snapchat? Ratata, ratata. It's like, give me your mum's number. How about that? Give me your mum's number, because I want to ring her and tell her how rotten her son is being. He can get his rat skin coat from the cloakroom and be on his merry way on the highway. Let them, as Mel Robbins says in her theory, let them be ferocious. Let them be barbaric. If you don't want to go on a date, say no. If you don't fancy a guy, tell him, say we're not on the same wavelength. Honesty, okay, I was going to say honesty is the best policy. Truth be told, in some cases it's not, because some people cannot hear the truth and they cannot have any accountability and they cannot see the rottenness in themselves. Some people just cannot read the room. Let's actually be for real. So as Mel Robbins says in her book, she talks about the let them theory. Let them, so in this case, let them be mad when you say no. Let them be dust when you say no. Yeah, let them. And then the other half of the theory is let me choose how I act accordingly. You don't have to retaliate in a ferocious way if someone approaches you in a ferocious way. You don't have to be barbaric if someone else is barbaric. My mum always used to tell me when I was a child, don't be bad just because someone else is bad. Actually, she tells me it now. And a lot of my content my mum doesn't agree with, especially when I was dusty busting. Sometimes she doesn't like when I'm dusty busting. But guess what? Let her be mad when I'm dusty busting and let me continue dusty busting. Sometimes it's okay to be the villain in someone else's story. Sometimes it's okay to be the bitch in someone's story. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with people thinking I'm a bitch. It comes naturally, automatically with the resting RBF face. For anyone who doesn't know what RBF face, it means resting bitch face. Yeah, resting bitch face. Call me bitch. I'm not bothered. I've got an episode on this podcast called If You Care About What People Think, You'll Be Forever Trapped Their Prisoner. And it's so true. Once you let go of what people think of you and you don't give a rat's ass, your life is going to get fun. And I'm looking forward to your stories and your fun festivities of when you stop giving a rat's ass about what people think if you say no. Once you stop people pleasing, your life will flourish. Once you stop pouring into everyone else's cup who is draining you, actually, you'll actually realize, wow, life is beautiful, life is fun when you're not pouring your energy to dusty, leeching, conniving rats on the highway. Do not be scared to be your authentic self, to express your emotions. If you feel like you cannot be your authentic self or express your emotions, perhaps you shouldn't be in that place. Perhaps you shouldn't be in that friendship group. Perhaps you need to distance yourself from those family members who are always on your ass. Like I've said in the past episodes with Amina and Zahra, if you don't listen you must feel, and Broke Justice should never laugh. Keep your beak closed. Obviously, I know I'm contradicting myself because I'm saying open your beak and speak. But in terms of your personal life, your private matters and things you don't want to share with the world and announce. Guys, for example, you know when people are pregnant and they don't share it until a certain amount of time? The same goes for everything in your life. No one needs to know you've got a new car until you've got it. Real life example, my Dusty Mini. Everyone and their mum knew I was getting a Mini because I was in sixth form and my friend had actually shown me the link on Auto Trader, the photos, so everyone knew I was getting this Mini. Guys, I had never-ending problems with that flipping Mini. Never ending. Oh my goodness, that Mini isn't even the same Mini that I originally bought. New radiator, new bonnet ×2. Someone stole the side of the flipping black, not the alloy, but on top of the alloy, someone ripped that off. The flipping everything, clutch ×2 being replaced, apart from the interior. To wrap this up, NO spells no. November Oscar, full stop, is a full sentence. You don't need to explain yourself, you don't need to justify yourself. You don't need to justify cutting someone off. No contact is the best form of contact if someone's a dusty. I'll do another podcast episode dedicated to no contact. When you've got like a scar, and if you keep picking the scab, it's never going to heal. If you keep picking at it, it's never going to heal. It might heal, but it will take longer. That is basically no contact. For anyone who doesn't know what no contact is, it's just no more contact with your ex. Broke up for a reason. Why do you need to keep in communication? Obviously, if you've got kids, it's a different story, etc, etc. You share a dog, whatnot, different story. I'll go into detail about that on Silence is Your Superpower. I'm looking forward to that because I feel like a lot of girls on my TikTok live ask me and how to manage no contact. Trust me, it's better to be the one that got away than the one suffering with that rat on the highway, because you're not a rat on the highway, darling. You're a beautiful, elegant swan or cat or gorgeous horse. You're not a little rat on the highway. And in case you are messing with a rat on the highway, like I always say, like I said in the last episode, put your hair in a pony and run for the hills, darling. Run. The dusties will only ever bring you down to their level. And like Brini Lee says on her podcast, which I love, dust settles, queens don't. Got it? To wrap this episode up, in case you zoned out the whole episode, I want you to remember, you are not obliged to give someone your number if you don't want to. You're not even obliged to give someone your name if you don't want to. That's one of my favourite things to do, give fake names, fake aliases. These dusties will find you, you know. I remember before I even had an open social media account, when I had a private Instagram account, before I was even like modelling full time, no word of a lie, when I lived in London, I was on the underground, I was on the tube from Tottenham Hale to Oxford Circus. Tell me why this guy DM'd me white toenails, because I had on sliders and I had white toenails, and it's like, how did you even find me? Another dusty who tried to woo me and fell miserably. The same girl he was trying to message in Dubai at the same time as me, yeah, when he came to Dubai, because he's a dust and he wishes he could have our lifestyle. I expanded on the dusties wanting your lifestyle in Broke Dusty Should Never Laugh. And if you don't listen, you must feel. Watch those 2 episodes with Zahra, Minna and I. I'll put it somewhere here on the end screen, the podcast playlist. He was trying to message me and her at the same time. And it's so funny how you're connected to people, because her and I actually told her about her dusty ex who was trying to chat to me, who got run over with a G-Wagon twice in Dubai, which I speak about in the, I can't remember the title of the podcast, but I'm wearing a black top in this same car. Again, I'll put it in the end screen somewhere here. I love Mel Robbins' theory, let them, let me. I've got a third thing to say, let God. Let God deal with them. In my life the other day, one girl said, I just want to get my lick back. I want to get my revenge. Listen, yeah? You don't need to get your lick back. The best lick back is no contact. Moving on your merry little way, darling. Do not give the satisfaction and over-posting, overcompensating on stories, trying to make them jealous. No. Be an unbothered queen. Dust settles, queens don't. Don't stoop to anyone's level. He's a rat on the highway. Do not stoop to his level, darling. I've never seen a rat fur coat, and I don't want to see one. Leave it for the rats on the highway. I don't know why I've got this example in here, but I remember I wanted to drop out of sixth form. I wrote here about the head deputy like convincing me to stay in sixth form, which of course she's going to do, because again, the education system is, these schools make money per head, get money, they get funding from the government for us being in the education system. She was convincing me to stay in sixth form because I wanted to drop out. She said to me, sometimes in life you have to do things you don't want to do. When it comes to education, yes, none of us like studying, none of us like being in the education system. It's rotten and it's horrible. Teachers are also dusty. Lecturers can also be dusty, which I can speak about that in another podcast about the education system. Comment down below what you'd like me to expand on. But in your adult life, as an adult, no. You do not have to force yourself. Not everything is by fire, by force. You are a grown adult. Learn how to say no. Learn how to stand on your 10 toes and pause. For example, I'm going to give an example of when I said no. The last night in Greece that I spent with my friends in Rhodes, yeah, Falariki to be precise. Amazing, highly recommend, absolutely gorgeous. For example, 2 of the girls wanted to go out on the town and my back was aching. In case anyone's new here or this is the first episode you're watching or listening to, I injured my coccyx and I'm still recovering. Okay, so they wanted to go out in the town and I'm not going to lie, I was getting agitated, I was getting irritated, because when my coccyx is flaring up and it's bothering me, I can't walk anymore. My friend said she was going to book the Uber never came, so khalas. I was getting tired of walking with them and I said, you know what guys, I'm going to go, enjoy your night. So I went on my phone, I scanned the scooter on the scooter app. I can't remember the name, but it's really good, guys. In Greece, there's loads of scooters. You can just cut about on a scooter. And I scooted back to the hotel because the hotel wasn't far. I scooted back to the hotel. I wasn't going to sit and wait for a taxi. I'm not going to sit and wait for them and sit there miserable with... No, khalas, you enjoy. I'm going. And on that note, guys, I'm going to wrap this episode here. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all so, so much. Have an amazing day. Remember, respect is commanded, not earned. Remember, lay down the law and open your beak and speak. Love you all from the bottom of my heart, from the moon to the stars to the sea. Thank you all for supporting me and watching this podcast. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you guys. And I wouldn't even be doing this if the Dusties didn't exist. So thank you, Dusties, for giving me a full-time job as the Dusty Buster. If you want to listen to more of the Fly Girl podcast, I will put it on the end screen somewhere here or here. You know the drill, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend. Leave me a review on any of the streaming platforms. Salama, adios, ciao. Wariana ya.